Hey, what is going on, guys? It is Young here, and today I'm back with another Fortnite video. And in today's video, I'm gonna give you guys some tips and tricks and tell you guys how to win the majority of your gunfights here in Season 9. I'm gonna be covering everything that you guys need to know in order to do so. And before we get into the video, I have a weekly V-Buck giveaway. I'm gonna be giving away V-Bucks every single Friday, and if you guys want a chance to win some free V-Bucks, all you guys need to do is to drop a like on this video. Make sure you guys subscribe to my channel and as well subscribe to my second channel. I post a ton of really good content on there, so make sure you guys do subscribe, turn on my post notifications, and as well leave a comment down below of your Xbox gamer tag, your PSN gamer tag, or Epic account. And if you guys would like to support me as a creator in the item shop, all you have to do is go over to the item shop, go into the bottom right hand corner, support a creator, and type in my code. My code is Younghumor. Type it in and you guys will have me supported as a creator. And alright guys, let's get to the video. Alright, so in this video, I'm going to be talking about how to win every single gunfight here in Fortnite, and there's a few things specifically that I want to be talking about in this video that you guys have to know in order to do this. And the tips I'm talking about in this video are going to be specifically related to Season 9 because every single season, everything changes. And you guys especially know that if you guys have been playing for a few seasons, they added in planes, they added in jetpacks a really long time ago, and they constantly keep making changes to the game. So there's going to be a lot of things that you have to consider when it comes to winning a lot of gunfights here in Fortnite. And what worked back in Season 5 might not necessarily work in Season 9 because a lot of things change, a lot of different gun changes, weapon buffs, weapon nerfs. So there definitely is a ton of things that you guys need to consider in order to win, or at least consistently win a ton of gunfights in Fortnite, and also win a lot of games as well. So relating back to the first point, and I think it's one of the most important things to talk about in this video. So like I said, during each of the seasons, a ton of things is changing. Different weapons, you have different metas, you have different playstyles that are going to be working better, and you also have a lot of different added things to the game. You have hoverboards. There was planes in the game, so it's constantly a lot of different things to consider, and also as well they had the hamster balls, which was a huge meta back probably a few weeks ago. Everyone competitive was using it to get to the end game, so they were using them to win a lot of games. So there's going to be a ton of different things that are going to be happening in Fortnite. So the first key to understanding how to win every single gunfight and just play extremely well from season to season is just understanding the meta of the game. So in order to do this, you're going to have to try out different things. So if there's a new weapon that comes into the game, you're going to have to try out that weapon. If there's a different type of playstyle that's working, when they added in the zip lines, you're trying out the zip line, seeing what works with that, and just trying out all the new things in the game. That's going to give you the best possible advantage. So when you're going into a gunfight and you have one of those things in your inventory, you know exactly how to use it and its strengths and its disadvantages as well. So always the first thing to consider is the meta of the game and seeing what works and what doesn't. So next I really want to talk about what I think personally works the best in Season 9. And there's a ton of different things. There's a ton of different playstyles. You can play a little bit more passive, kind of have that good medium, or you could just play flat out aggressive. And there's also a lot of different things in between that, maybe you play a little bit more aggressive, so you use a different type of playstyle, use different weapons, different things like that in your playstyle, but maybe you're playing a little bit slower, you're going to be using different things as well. So you have to really consider your playstyle. So if you want to be able to win every single gunfight, you at least have to understand your playstyle. I think that's probably the second most important thing you have to do. And just to give a really clear and quick example, and for instance, if you're playing a little bit more aggressive, you're not going to be spending a ton of time farming on materials and getting a ton of loot. So opposed to playing passively, you're not going to have as much loot. So if you're playing a little bit more passive, playing a little bit slower, getting the materials up, getting your HP up, you're getting a ton of loot, you don't have to really worry about those things as much, and you don't have to consider them as much when going into gunfights as if you were playing really aggressive. Those are kind of the main things you have to keep in mind every single time you go into gunfight. You need to really consider what's your mat count, and you also have to really consider how much HP you have. So depending on your playstyle, there's going to be different things you have to consider, and I think this is really important when it comes to winning every single gunfight. It's just knowing exactly what kind of things you're going to be needing in that fight, and even after you get the kills, when you're going for the loot, you need to really focus on getting the materials first, just in case if someone else rushes you, at least have a little bit of materials. Maybe you need to get HP, as opposed to already having a ton of shield and a ton of materials. You can be a little bit slower picking up the loot, just in case anyone else is, if anyone else pushes, it's not going to be that big of a deal because you already have the mats and HP to fight in that gunfight, as opposed to playing really fast, rushing every single player that you see. You're going to have to play a little bit faster when it comes to picking up loot. So just a lot of things to consider when it comes to your playstyle. So the next thing that I want to be talking about in this video is going to have to deal with what's working best here in Season 9, because of course, like I said before, back in Season 5, it's a way different than it is in Season 9. So I want to talk about the few things that I think work really well considering the different changes and everything they added in Season 9. But one thing that I have to talk about is the recent change they made literally just yesterday, if you're watching this video a little bit later. But they took out the SMG, they took out the common SMG, the green SMG, and the blue SMG, and that's going to be huge considering a lot of different things. And to be completely honest, the way I see it, the way it's going, they took out the pump shotgun, they took out the SMG, and those two weapons alone were very close range weapons, and something that you can use every single time to go for a W key and another player, go really aggressive. So it's a really major thing to consider, because a lot of times when it comes to going inside someone's box, you're going to be using an SMG and dealing a ton of damage very quickly. But since they tear out the SMG, that's a one major thing to consider, and I feel like they're making it so it's a little bit harder just to play super aggro and just rush every single player and W key every player they're going into. I think they're really trying to make a change for that, and that's what I kind of see when they took out the SMG. Maybe you guys see a little bit differently. And as well, they did add a new SMG. I think it's like a 4-round burst, but you're not going to be able to use that to just rush into everyone's box. It's going to be because it's a 4-round burst. So you definitely cannot play a lot more aggressive with that gun as opposed to a M16 or the other SMG that they just took out. So it's a lot of things to really think about when it comes to choosing the best playstyle. And as you guys know, about a week ago, they added the combat SMG, where it's an SMG but has a little bit more range on it, which is even more of a reason why I think Epic is trying to take away from the really close range fights, because they know a lot of really good players are going to be constantly winning those. So the new meta, and the one thing that I think is the most important thing to take away from this video, is going to be, even with the combat shotgun in the game, that the best way to play and the way you're going to be winning the most amount of gunfights here in Fortnite is going to be at that medium range. And those are the gunfights that you want to be challenging, because you have the combat SMG, and as well you have a tactical shotgun, meaning that those guns are going to be the best to use at that medium range. Of course, the tactical shotgun can be used at close range, and it's definitely not as good as the pump shotgun was, and especially not as good as the SMG once was at close ranges. So the best way that I see, in my opinion, if you want to get really good at Fortnite, and also if you want to improve, is really trying to improve your mid-range gunfights. I think that's going to be the key to dominating and just winning every single gunfight that you go into in Season 9. But of course, like I said at the beginning, the season's going to be constantly changing, new weapons. But the direction of Fortnite and its current meta, and the way I see it going, close range and point blank gunfights aren't going to be the best way to play. And of course, it might be really good in some situations, but the majority of gunfights you're going into, focusing and improving your mid-range game is going to work out for the long run, and you're going to be able to dominate every single gunfight you're going into in Season 9. I can guarantee that. So I did talk a good amount about improving in the mid-range fights, but I really didn't talk about a little bit about how to actually improve your accuracy. And there's going to be a few different ways you can go about improving your accuracy in the mid-range when I talk about using the tactical SMG, or maybe just improving your range in general, because you do have the drum gun in the game and as well the assault rifle. And I think those 3 guns alone are going to be probably your biggest percentage of damage, and when you're going into gunfights, these guns are going to be doing the most amount of damage every single game. And of course, using aiming courses in creative mode are going to be a really good way to improving your aim with that weapon, kind of understanding how it works. And I think one of the best ways I think a lot of people don't talk about when it comes to improving your skill with a certain gun, when it talks to the drum gun, SMG, shotgun, whatever the case may be, and especially when it comes to automatic weapons, is you really want to try to understand and feel how the recoil is, because with every single gun it's a little bit different. The drum gun is definitely a lot more recoil than opposed to an M16 or maybe an SMG that they took out. So it really depends on the weapon and how it's used, and as well if you're running, if you're standing still, if you're crouched. There's a lot of different factors you have to consider when it comes to timing, how your accuracy is going to be and how your recoil is going to be. So there's a few things that you have to consider and some things you have to learn. And as well, a really good way to improve your accuracy with a certain weapon is to do 1v1s using that weapon, so you don't have to go into a game and maybe run into 1 or 2 fights and maybe die in the situations. If you're playing in a 1v1 against a friend in creative mode, then you can constantly play a ton of rounds and get a good feel for that weapon without having to go through the trouble of finding it in game, and as well just trying to get used to it while other people are playing very different. So it is a really good incentive to play a little bit more 1v1s to improve with your weapon and just get really good with that weapon overall, and just understand how the recoil is and just understand how the gun works and everything like that. So I think that really is an important thing to master if you want to be really good at this game, especially in the mid-range. And with that being said, that's wrap up for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Hope you guys liked it, and if you guys could, make sure you guys do drop a like on this video. It really does help me out. So make sure you guys do drop a like, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, turn on my notifications so you guys can get notified for every single new video. And alright guys, I'll see you next video.